Joined on the line right now by a familiar face, a familiar name anyway. The face looks a little different. We're live on the line with the Pro Football Hall of Famer Andre Reed, Bills receiver, 16 seasons in the NFL, 14 with the Bills. And Andre, we can see on our Skype version here, you have a little, is that a goatee? How would you describe that beard you have?
It's straight up Neanderthal, man. I'm letting it go just in case the top goes, so I can take this off and put it on top.
It's quite gray. You're aware of that. It's gray, right?
Yeah, man. You know what? It is what it is. And I think, 30 years ago when we all were playing, Sevy, nobody had no gray hair. There's hardly people that had hair on their face, period. So it's called experience. That's what it's called.
Hey, you look great, man. Hey, thanks for coming on. It's great seeing you. You've been busy lately. You've been busy lately. You're staying busy. You say you're going to go out and play golf a little bit this afternoon? They're opening things up out there?
Yeah, well, California, man, just like, some of these states, the governors are kind of loosening the leash a little bit. They started opening up the beaches down here about a week ago. Golf courses are steadily coming back. You still have to do the social distancing. And actually, the course I'm going to, I played there a couple days ago, and they take your temperature. So they're doing everything they're supposed to be doing as far as this pandemic is concerned. Let's face it, guys, this is a different world now. We're going through a lot of stuff, economically. We're in the sports business. Sports is going to be different. Who knows what's going to happen with the league this year? They got a contingency plan, as you said, Murph, that they, just in case some things go on, that they're going to, implement. It won't be the same. And it seems like we've been going through this for about a year, but it's only been 2 months. So I think we all have to sit tight. We got to be patient, let things kind of fall where they may. And, hopefully there is a season. I know Bills fans are so excited about this year. I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit. But let's face it, man, sports is a part of the American genre. If we don't have sports, people tend to get a little more testy. So it's essential that sports do come back, not only for the players and everybody involved, but for the people too.
Andre Reed, Pro Football Hall of Famer, on the line with us. And I hear what you're saying about California, where you live, Andre. I do keep reading that, like, the governor and other Californian officials are doubtful about putting people in stadiums, either early this fall or even at all during the fall. How do you think that's going to play out? I mean, there's, 3 NFL teams out in the state of California?
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at some of the players and some of the athletes are saying, well, I'm not going to play without no fans. That's just like when we were striking in 1987. Oh, I'm not going to cross the picket line. But the pressure you get, I mean, I didn't cross the picket line. I'm just saying the pressure is there and guys end up crossing the line. So I think there's going to be a lot of pressure from the inside, from the outside for athletes to do things in a certain manner. I mean, what is it going to be like with no fans cheering for you in the stadium? Is everything going to be virtual like it is now? How are the big name players? I mean, I don't know if you guys heard LeBron saying, I'm not playing with no fans. And, all the big name players in sports are, they're very skeptical about playing with no fans. And the fans really don't care. I think the fans are going to be there regardless if they say, hey, you got to sit 6 feet apart, fans are going to be at the stadiums. Because that's part of, again, earlier I said it's part of our makeup. It's part of a person's makeup. Sports is a part of their makeup. So whatever they do, I think it'll be best for the players and best for the country, best for the fans, et cetera, et cetera.
One of the questions that's arisen from this playing without fans is what will happen when somebody scores a touchdown and there's no crowd noise or anything, and the TV networks are thinking about maybe even just piping in crowd noise so you feels normal. What do you think about how would it feel? I mean, it's going to be weird for the players to score a touchdown, nobody cheers, especially at home.
Yeah.
But what will it feel like to watch a game for you? What do you think about the crowd noise and the lack thereof?
I think, let's face it, bro, the crowd noise gets you hyped. That's really what the crowd's about. Not only is it entertainment for them, but in some cases, it's been entertainment for us. I mean, the stadiums we've been in, fans are crazy. And that's where they get their release. They work all week and they do all the stuff they have to do all week in their job. Going to a stadium on a Sunday or a Monday night or Thursday night or Saturday night game or whatever in college, that's kind of a release for them. So they get to act out any way they want to. Bills fans, they act out any way they want to. And that's kind of a release for them. So how are they going to deal with that when there's no fans in the game? They're going to have to act out at the house. And I don't know how that's going to go. So we're all like in a pot right now and trying to pull things out to see how it's going to be. I just hope sports gets back. Whether or not it gets back to normalcy right away, that probably won't happen. The country's got to get back first before we feel good about what's going on in sports.
We're live with Pro Football Hall of Famer Andre Reed, of course, formerly with the Buffalo Bills. Hey, Andre, coronavirus and the pandemic and the quarantine has obviously affected anyone, but you're kind of doing your part. I read where you delivered meals to San Diego's police department, part of a church's coronavirus relief effort, and working with former NFL player Miles McPherson and current Raiders wide receiver Tyrell Williams. Tell us about that. What were you doing there?
Well, Miles McPherson, not only a leader in the community here in San Diego, he's a pastor. The Rock Church is really important to me. I go to the Rock Church almost every Sunday. We have a virtual online meeting with, as you said, Tyrell Williams. Reggie Bush comes in there sometimes. You had Chase Daniel. So it's kind of like a little Bible study for former players to talk about, different issues and things that they go through, and then, talk about, just getting God's word. And let's face it, we need anything right now, to calm everybody and to know that it's going to be okay. And to go down to the police department, the first responders, all the people around the country, the healthcare workers, just seeing these healthcare people go in and day out and are there for hours with masks on and risking their lives and saving lives at the expense of their own lives. So we have to respond to them and give back to them and show appreciation, not only for them, but, our police department, our fire department. These are people that go unnoticed a lot of times. They're in the news for different reasons. It's important that we give the props to them, that they're trying to keep everything on a solid, on the ground, solid ground. And that's what I'm doing. Plus, I'm doing a lot of different things. Actually, next week, I'm doing a COVID-19 small business festival, online, virtual, with talking about small business and how businesses can get back to normalcy. My whole speech is going to be about the comeback game and how you come back from being down, especially in business. So it's about taking control of yourself, taking control of your stuff, and it should be really good. And again, I'm doing a lot of different things, man. A lot of things unnoticed.
Yeah, and it's also a strange off season, and it's a strange time for everybody. And I have you been noticing what the Bills have been doing? One of the big things they've done, they went out and got a Stephon Diggs, who's one of the really good receivers at the top of the league. What do you think that does for a team, Dre? I mean, you played wide out, and you were around in 1989. You're the number one receiver, and we just need one extra guy. We need one guy. We need somebody. So the Bills go out and they get James Lofton, who has already had a great career, and it's later in his career he comes in. Talk about how that changed the dynamic, not only just of me and you sitting in the receiver room, have James come in and the funny guy he was and the fun he added to the room, but also the help he gave you on the field. How did that change that offense? Mad
respect, man, Sevy. Every time when James Lofton signed, I was like, it's about to go down now. Because again, like you said, he was established in Green Bay. He did a lot in the league. Went to Oakland, or the LA Raiders at the time, and not only did he bring a sense of confidence to us as a receiver group, but just his presence, not only on the field but off the field, and what he brought, you couldn't help but be better. And just watching him, and I remember back in 1985 when I came in the league, Jerry Butler was a guy I watched. Murph, you remember Jerry?
Yep.
And they said, if you want to be good and you want to stay in this league, watch number 80. And I watched him like a hawk. I mean, I had wings. Everywhere he went, I was either behind him or right beside him, taking notes. And I think these young kids now, the two kids we drafted, the young man out of Oregon State and Gabriel Davis, big kids, can run good routes, can catch the ball. It's going to be an adjustment for them because of this pandemic that's going on. There's no, I'm sure there's no OTAs. Everything's virtual again. They're going to have to be in their playbook because they're not going to have the on-field experience. So they're going to have to hit the ground running. And when you have veterans on your team like John Brown and Cole Beasley and all these guys that they have there, offensively and defensively, this is going to make your team a little bit more confident every time you step on the field. And that's really going to be important for every single team this year to be successful, is to rely on your veterans, and then you got to do the extra work to make you better, to make the whole team better.
Live with Andre Reed, Hall of Fame wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills. Hey, Andre, the Bills did draft 2 wideouts, and you mentioned them, Hodgins from Oregon State and, of course, Gabe Davis, both of them with size and length. Yeah. How much of a factor is that, do you think, to have a wide receiving core that has some short little guys who can run and some fast guys who can – some tall guys who can, be a better target for the quarterback, I would think.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's a double-edged sword. I mean, always go to when I came in the league, it was always the short receivers, the Mark Dupers and the Mark Claytons that could jump. And as receivers got bigger, defensive backs had to get bigger. Now defensive backs are tall and lanky. And
did we lose him? I think we lost.
He just froze up.
Okay.
Andre, we lost you for just a second. We'll try and reconnect with him. Obviously, Andre's got a ton going on, and he still takes great interest in the Bills. He's on this 5 Presidents text loop that we use all the time, and he's as busy as anybody of that old group. You know what I mean, Murph? Doing the stuff he's doing for the people out in California, the department, the San Diego Police Department, and teaming up with Miles McPherson and also Tyrell Williams. Good to hear about him doing that stuff. It's been a lot of fun watching him become that kind of Hall of Fame type of character and Hall of Fame type of guy. He plays it up to the max. He gets the most out of it and helps a lot of people with his position as a Hall of Famer. It's good to see.
You know what? I didn't ask him, and we're running out of time a little bit. We'll get him back up here in a second here. But you were there. When Lofton shows up, it didn't sound like there was any thought from Andre, who was getting well established, not quite there, but getting pretty well established. But there was no concern over, how many touches am I going to get? How many targets am I going to get now with this Hall of Fame receiver James Lofton on the roster? Didn't seem like that was a consideration back then, Steve, was it?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. They were always looking for somebody to help Andre, much like they were for somebody to help, John Brown and Cole Beasley. It was a little bit like that in '89 when we had Don Beebe and Andre. They kind of needed that big body guy on the outside, a guy that could go up and get it, a guy that could stretch and take the top off the defense, and also be a threat in his own right. James Lofton filled that role. Obviously, James filled that role admirably, but also. And Andre, we got Andre back. Andre, we're talking about James Lofton, his contribution. Yeah. It wasn't only that James was a great player and an established player and the right body type, the big, strong guy, go down the field, deep threat kind of guy. But he was also a great teammate, a guy that was great in the locker room, a guy that was great in our meeting rooms, just as wide receiver was Nick Nicolau. Nick and James had a history together. Nick had coached James in L.A. His chemistry and his ability to be humble and good-humored and work hard really aided not only in his relationship with you, but also in his ability to mesh with the team and start contributing almost right from the get-go.
Yeah, he, what he did in L.A. was awesome, and I think he knew the situation he was coming in, and I think he was more excited than probably we were because we knew, but we didn't know how fast he would grasp everything. And if you remember that game against Atlanta back in, I think it was Deion Sanders' first game, and James Lofton had a touchdown, and we started to no huddle, I think, that game. So, things just happened, and the ball got rolling. Jim got confidence. We all got confidence, and, the rest is history, and we really took off from there.
Andre Reed is on the line with us live, talking about the Bills back then and the Bills now. I want to ask you about receivers. making the adjustment to quarterbacks. We had a guy on earlier today, Andre, talking about how Josh Allen and Matt Barkley are working out in Southern California with the 2 rookie wide receivers. That's important, isn't it? That's the kind of thing that gets done among the meaningless practices, so-called meaningless practices in the spring and OTAs. The one thing they can do is work on timing with receivers. I'm impressed that Josh Allen is doing that now.
Yeah, and he knows how important it is. I think Josh has taken a couple steps in the last year to being not only an elite quarterback in the league, but to really team to the next level, this Buffalo Bill team. And to bring these 2 rookies in and to have, the veterans that he needs on that team. And basically it is his team to a certain point. And the more weapons you have, the more confidence you have coming in. And for him to be out here in Southern California working with these guys is a big plus, again, with everything happening, to get a jump on everything. And I'm sure he's not the only one doing it. I'm sure a lot of the other quarterbacks are doing it too. But this is what they need to do, not only to familiarize themselves together, but again, and I want to see how you run this route. This is the adjustment that you need to make on this, and different just verbiage that he needs to give them. So when they get together and it's running, that they're already one step ahead.
John Murphy, Steve Tasker talking to Andre Reed. Hey, Andre, I saw you're doing a little bit of acting now. You had an episode of Magnum P.I. a few weeks ago. You were in MacGyver last year. What's going on there? Is this a new career for you in the making?
Yeah, well, I'm dabbling in it. It's a lot of fun. It's very different than going out and playing football on Sunday, that's for sure. But it's a lot of fun to do. Who knows what's going to happen after this? I'll probably have some more things I'll be doing. So it's a lot of fun, man. It's a lot of fun to do.
Do you have any plans, anything on the docket that we can look for coming up?
Well, Peter Linkoff, who started all those shows again, Magnum and
MacGyver
and Hawaii Five-0 and all that. He's got a lot of stuff. He's done a lot of things. He's been done a lot of movies. So you might see me on the big screen. You never know.
What characters do they have you playing? What type of characters, Andre?
Well, I wanted to play myself, and I did. I played myself in the last episode of Magnum P.I. I played myself, and a guy was impersonating me, and they put him in jail for impersonation. So my name was Eddie Butler, so I don't look like no Eddie Butler, but it's going to be, hopefully it'll be a recurring role. They killed me on the other show, so once you die on a show, you can't come back.
You can't come back?
You can't come back, yeah.
Perfect.
So, it's a lot of fun to do. It's very challenging because it's time, and I will definitely give you guys a peep when the next thing comes up.
Thanks,
all right,
Andre. That's awesome.
Andre, thanks for coming on with us today. We appreciate it. Good talking to you
guys, and stay healthy, stay safe. Everybody say hello to the families for me, and hopefully we get back in Buffalo soon. I can get back there and we can hit the ground running with the season and have some fun.